Good day, everyone. More protocols observed. I also like to recognize the presence of directors from CBN, heavily represented as well, and all the participants from the banks. You're welcome. And we are going to talk about navigating digital frontier, enhancing financial security and efficiency in the clearing and payment system. Uh, So of course, we are NIPS. These are corporate philosophies, our vision, core values, and so of course we have our outline. So we'll talk about the payment systems overview, the journey to T+1 clearing cycle and current states. Of course, we can't talk about where we are now without remembering where we're coming from. So we'll also talk about the need for enhanced security, efficiency, and financial inclusion, then the transition to check digitization. So who are we in NIPS? NIPS, of course, you know we are the National Central Switch. So we are mandated to create interoperability and settlement across industry and stakeholders. Of course, we also provide digital platforms for seamless payments and identity across the nation. So our robust infrastructure helps us deliver secure platforms, innovative technology, and cost optimization for stakeholders. As some of you know, we were established in 1993 to serve as the clearinghouse for the financial industry. But of course, we have also evolved, and we've been able to reduce cost of interbank switching as well. And also, we've also been able to facilitate interoperability across financial services. You know that you can easily transfer funds across banks today. Of course, NIPS provides that opportunity. So I mean, we've really evolved as an organization. So for the payments systems overview, basically it's the entire arrangement and procedures and regulation governing interconnection and communication to facilitate transfer of monetary value. So of course, payment systems are very, very critical. It drives the economic activity, and of course it's core to financial stability of any country. You can't grow as a nation if you don't have a stable payment system, and NIPS provides that opportunity. So I'll talk about the components. So we have the participating institutions, the banks, the clearing houses, of course. We have the payment infrastructure that helps with, to help with settlement and then this payment system. Example, the RTGS, we have the NACS, we also have the NIP, and also the bespoke solutions that we have, numerous solutions that we have in NIPS. Then also there are laws. You can't have an efficient system if you don't have laws that guide it. And there are rules and standards and guidelines. And we conform to international standards, not just the local standards. And also we have the payment network and schemes. We can't operate in isolation. We have partners. We have payment schemes that are also in the payment process. We have schemes, for example, the likes of MasterCard, Visa Card, and also our Afrigo as well. We have, and then lastly, there are payment instruments that we use for these payment systems. And these payment instruments include cash, checks, cards as well. So let's talk about the challenges with historical clearing processes. Some of us know where we're coming from, and for some of us that don't really know, like I said, we have actually evolved. So the process of clearing checks initially was a very manual process. It's a manual process end to end and highly cumbersome. It took as much as 8 hours, to commence clearing before banks could know their net position. So you can imagine when you talk about, it takes 8 hours for people to just know what their position is looking like. And then before, it also took customers a whopping 21 days. So you can imagine if you issue a check and it takes 21 days for it to clear. Today we are talking about T+1. So it's mind-boggling to see what all the previous generation actually faced. To get value, and there wasn't any form of electronic transfer. It was strictly either check or cash. So you can imagine if you get a check issued to you, you will have to wait for 21 days to get value. So I highlighted below are some of the challenges. So there were lack of quality control instruments. Within 30-35% of rejected checks were due to non-conformity with the MICRA check standards. We all know what MICRA simply means. magnetic ink character recognition. So it's basically a security feature on the check to make sure that it conforms to standard. Then we also had return checks. Huge amount of checks were returned due to insufficient funds in the customer's account. There are regulations today, laws that say you shouldn't issue checks if your account is not funded, especially if checks are returned. But then we keep driving that engagement to sensitize all the stakeholders that you shouldn't issue checks from insufficient accounts. Then the long clearing days, like I also mentioned earlier, 21 days, for you to get value from checks. I can't even, think about it, how strenuous and difficult it was in the past. Then the incidence of fraud, forgeries, we had, forgeries, checks were being forged or altered. So these are some of the challenges that, we experienced. But of course, fraud level have actually dropped significantly in checks. Month on month, there are months from 1993, we evolved to 2002 where the Micra was introduced. Then in 2004, NACS was also introduced. Going into 2007 where we have the new settlement arrangement. Then we also have the clearing cycle harmonization. We now reduced, at some point from 21 days to 5 days to 2 days, and to where we are now today when the check truncation was introduced in 2001, where we now have T+1. Who says we can't have T+0? Do you think we can achieve that? I can't hear you, please. So from 21, we are now in T+1. So hopefully we will get to T+0 where we can have same day value for checks. But believe me, it's already in the works, something that is already being looked into. Then in 2023, that's last year, in 2021, of course, we have the revised check standard. And we are now in 2024, what next? So there are things we should do and start looking at, where we should be going to subsequently. So this is the revised check standard. There are some objectives around that. The objective basically is to conform with international standards, review of cash and near money instruments every 5 to 8 years. Also to reduce the turnaround time of check processing at the banks by having minimal reject items that require manual intervention during scanning. We also have to secure checks by addressing some of the fraud. Of course, fraud, anytime fraud happens, it presents you an opportunity to actually learn and then improve your system. Because the truth is that you have to keep innovating. These fraudsters are out there always try to, think ahead of us. So anytime, we have that anomaly and then a fraud passes through, we always have to sit back and see how best we can, stop it. Then the new features of this check, or the check format today, and that's the Micra. So of course we have introduced the expiry date, and the first set of checks will be expiring, this month of November. So banks should be on the lookout. But the expectation is that expired checks will not be able to pass through your in-clearing system. And of course, in NIPS and the NACS system is also a second level check that it won't be processed on our platform for expired checks. Then we also have the check digits. It confirms the validity of the Micra details from the serial number to expiry date. Then we have the QR code. I'm sure some of us have started seeing QR codes printed on our check, usually on the reverse side of the check. So that's also the next step, because QR code allows you, to capture additional details, that you will not be able to capture on the Micra on the front page of the check. So that's what QR code will help us do. And ultimately, QR code will also help us to reduce cost, because of course you will not require the detailed printing that you need for Micra, but QR code, it just is, once you have that encrypted QR, of course, it helps you to save the printing cost. Then the standardization of hologram, security number, and other physical changes on the checks as well. So these are very key features of the new check format, which is the Micra technology. So based on the topic of today, I've talked about where we're coming from, in terms of check, processing, clearing, and all. So, in the topic of today, there is actual need for enhanced security and efficiency and financial inclusion. We can't overemphasize it. But I just also want to remind you some of the things we're also doing in need, some of the emerging payment trends. I have to also explain, to enlighten you on what's currently happening. So these are some of the things that, emerging payment trends that are coming up. Some of us may be familiar with this already. We have the cross-border payments, which is the PAPS. We have the NXP. We have the direct debit. Direct debit is very important. In fact, it's very critical in payment, in digital payments adoption. Then we also have the QR code payments, the NQRs. Most of us are also familiar. I think in all the bank apps, you have the NQR option on most of the bank apps as well. Then we have the e-bills pay, and then we have the BVN consent management. So these are emerging payment trends. And then lastly, we have our domestic card scheme. Who has an Afrigo card here with them? I know I have one. Okay, I'm sure with time. Hopefully by the time we come for the next conference, we will all be able to, we should be able to display our Afrigo card in the next conference. So move on. So what next? That's a very important question. It's a thought-provoking question. Considering where we're coming from, where we are, we should also be thinking of the future, because we can't remain stagnant. We have to be innovative. We have to also think ahead. We have to also improve our processes. So what are the things that are next? Of course, micro-technology is already in place, but we always have to keep improving. We have to make sure that we monitor and then see how we can scale and improve the micro-technology. We have the QR code technology. I've also talked about QR code technology. All the checks today have usually they have the QR codes at the back, but then the next step is to commence the check transmission and authentication process, leveraging on the QR code. That is the next phase, because we've also looked at it. A detailed analysis has been done. Not just that it will help in cost savings, it will also lead to improve security, because like I earlier mentioned, you have the opportunity to embed more information on the QR code, unlike we have on the micro technology. Then the holographic watermarks, we keep improving it, see how best we can make it better. Then we also have the check digitization and imaging, which the CTS scanners offers us. Now we also talk about the electronic checks, that's the e-checks. And that is where we are looking at. Because if you look at the current trend today, the younger generation today, the adoption of check usage is not very, strong, or I would say it hasn't really scaled. They haven't really keyed into it or bought into the idea of having checks and issuing checks. But the e-checks will provide the opportunity for the younger generation as well. And of course, the older generation that are also digitally inclined would also leverage and align and adopt it as well. Then we also talk about the real-time check processing and faster settlements. So with digitization, checks can be cleared in a fraction of the time, improving cash flow for business and reducing settlement risk. So, and that ultimately will lead to the T+0 settlement, because if we have the e-checks, of course, it gives you opportunity to settle faster and also improve real-time check processing. So these are this is for check digitization. So the transition to check digitization, we have the check imaging technology, we have the remote deposit capture and the electronic checks. I think I've spoken elaborately on this as well. So for the check imaging technology, we have the instant capture. Checks are digitally scanned or photographed at the point of deposit. We already practiced this. The digital records, they are captured and stored securely, and all check details can be verified electronically, improving accuracy and traceability. So these images are stored on the system already, so you can easily retrieve them on the NAC system. Then we have, I've also talked about the e-check, so no need dwelling on that. Then the remote deposit capture. So mobile deposits, customers can actually take photos of their checks and submit them for deposit via banking apps, eliminating the need to visit the bank. I think some banks already offer this. I'm not sure, but then it's something that is worth looking into. And also, there is also secure verification. The RBC systems use advanced image recognition and encryption technologies to ensure that the checks being deposited are legitimate and tamper-free. So moving on. Okay, so the e-check, of course, we can't implement it or go live on it without getting the necessary regulatory approvals. So there are conversations already in place with our regulators, the CBN, and the right frameworks will come up when we are ready to adopt it. So it's an innovative solution, and it will improve the efficiency to the issuance and settlement of checks in the e-payment system in Nigeria. So these are some of the key features for the e-check value proposition. The key features, it gives you the option for API, an API based and can be terminated at any channel such as POS, ATM, bank branches, direct deposits, etc. So it leverages on API technology, so you can imagine how fast it can be in terms of being able to process. And like I said, if we are looking at T+0 settlement, we have to start thinking in this direction to be able to achieve that. It also supports all transaction times, P2B, B2B, P2P, P2G, etc. models, and there are several models it can actually support. It also gives the opportunity to part liquidate for paying, for making payments for online merchants. So I'm sure we are beginning to think of how this can, really take us to the next level. Then it also supports both the current and savings account, then online real-time monitoring dashboard for CBN. So it gives CBN the opportunity to monitor, because it's important we monitor our payment systems to ensure that they are very efficient and there is actually value to all customers and stakeholders. Then the payments also, it gives you an opportunity for a one-off payment. So customers have the flexibility to opt out and in, of recurring payments. So I would like us to begin to think of, how this can, how the impact of these e-checks in the economy. So it's an opportunity for us to also think through and see that this is a very, very critical and the next step, in terms of our digital drive and evolution. So in conclusion, the financial security and efficiency in clearing and payment system continues to evolve with emerging technologies like micro, check imaging and digitization, quicker settlements, which are significantly reducing fraud, ensuring checks are tamper-proof and secure as well as encouraging adoption by the younger generation. So the key takeaway remains that the future of financial security and efficiency in the clearing system lies in the seamless innovation of digital advancements, ensuring a more secure, efficient and reliable payment system for the modern financial landscape. I'd like to thank you all for listening. Thank you.
It is time for the health and motivational talk. And I would like to bring up Mrs. Toyin Mayomi. Ladies and gentlemen, are you going to clap for her?
Yes, absolutely. A round of applause, please, as we welcome Mrs. Toyin Mayomi to the stage. I will read her profile. Good afternoon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Toyin Mayomi is a seasoned healthcare administrator with global expertise across specialties, including pediatrics, oncology, dialysis, dentistry, and psychiatric care. Her leadership blends operational excellence with a deep commitment to the well-being of our teams, fostering supportive environment where healthcare professionals and patients thrive. Currently, managing over 120 medical providers.
Imagine what 3 deep breaths consecutively can do for your lungs and open the airway, the channel to your body. Ensure that you have a mini mental vacation. Take yourself out of where you are, the stressful situations you are, and put yourself in another environment. Think about yourself on the beach. You are not on the beach, but you can think about it. Make believe. It helps your brain relax. and helps you really focus on yourself and not the situation. Step 6 will be to refrain rest. A lot of us rest, but we really do not rest. When we are sleeping, we are worried. When we wake up, we are worried. We should try to refrain rest. Sometimes turn off the phone, turn off every device we have, and truly rest. Take a break, maybe during the weekend. Do nothing else but rest, and ensure that you do it with intention. And with intention, I mean plan it. Get a bowl of ice cream, as long as it's not too much, everything in moderation, please. Netflix, food, I love food, so more food, and then rest. Eat, watch, rest, and relax. Step 7, set boundaries. To truly disconnect, we really have to set boundaries. To be honest, it's hard to set boundaries because everybody wants your time. The children are all over trying to get your attention. If you are married, you have in-laws trying to plan occasion and force you to be there when you don't want to. So it's difficult. But you need to set boundaries and truly disconnect. And setting boundaries means that you clear your schedule and make sure that people respect it. Decide not to check emails after work. Ensure that you do work at work time. And if you have to do work after work time, ensure that it is brief. Setting boundaries allow you to fully recharge. Then I have a bonus tip, which is negotiate for more time. We negotiate our salaries, we negotiate to get a partner, we negotiate with our children, we negotiate a whole lot of things, but we really hardly negotiate for time. If somebody tells you, oh, I need you to do this for me, kindly do it and give it to me by 12 o'clock Monday morning or Monday afternoon, we just say, okay, no problem. You can negotiate for it for a Tuesday morning. You can ask, I'll do a better job, but I can give it to you first thing Tuesday morning. That will mean you don't have to use Sunday to prepare for that extra work. It helps you to be able to have a free Sunday to rest, and then you can take your time later on Monday after your day activity to prepare for Tuesday. And do the delivery on Tuesday and do a great job at it. That can make a lot of difference. So, what have we talked about so far? Remember that achieving work-life balance it's more about reducing stress, but it goes much more than that. It's about reclaiming your joy, purpose, and the simple pleasures of life that makes life worth living. It's also about setting boundaries, saying yes to the things that matter, and knowing that you are in control of your time and your health. So, I challenge you, do not just work hard, live well. Let's bring our best selves to work every day, and let's take our best selves back home. Thank you all, and I hope it inspires you to do small changes. Remember, let's work hard, let's live more, and let's do it with joy and intention.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause,
Thank
please.
you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toye and Mayomi. I'm sure you've taken a lot home from the things that... All right, just in case you joined us, we're still live at the 10th Nigerian Banking and Clearing Payment Systems Conference 2024, live in the city of Lagos. And I hope you don't forget that the theme for this year's event is Navigating the Digital Frontier, Enhancing Financial Security and Efficiency in the Payment and Clearing Systems. When we come back for the break, we will be having the most anticipated, the most stimulating, intellectually stimulating panel session. So you don't want to miss that. So have lunch, but don't eat too much so you don't fall asleep.
And then very important, please, if you're going for the meal, remember to go with your ticket, the meal ticket, all right?
And your valuables.
Please.
Please
And then
keep an eye.
take care of your valuables,
Keep an eye
all
on your
right?
valuables, please.
We're going. So first, we'll invite the table in front to go first.
How technology and compliance. So much has been said today about this sweet spot, but we really want to take a deeper dive into why it's so important that in everything that we do, even as we navigate digital ages, that we continue to pay critical attention to technology as well as compliance. And so I would like us to touch base on certain key areas: operational efficiency, regulatory frameworks, customer experience, security in the face of cyber threats, and innovation into the future, as well as enhancing the culture of cyber awareness. So I'd like to start with the lady, because it's the ladies first. What critical role in the day and age that we live in, what critical role does tech play in advancing clearing and payment platforms, and why is it important that compliance runs side by side as tech continues to drive things forward?
All right, thank you very much. And let me start this session by thanking everybody that put this together, and also our regulators that are here. Is actually your baby. Thank you so much. I'm starting from the regulatory standpoint, based on the question that you asked. It's very clear that compliance must be in everything that we do, and that's why we have even the regulators supervising everything. I would like to take it from real life scenarios, and we know that even as a country, as a nation, if you are not protected, if you are not setting down rules and regulations that guide even the system, the economy, and all that it is, from the police force being there, from the naval officers, they are performing various roles, and that's also the reason why anything that is being set up, there also has to be rules, guidance, and compliance around it. So, of course, compliance plays a major role, and it plays a major role just because there must be security, there must be guidance, there must be direction as to whatever we are coming up in the payment system. Otherwise, everybody will do anything, and nothing. What is not being controlled is just opened in here, and you at the end of the day not achieve anything. So, compliance. When we as bankers think of compliance, we think of our compliance officers first, or the compliance department, and we are wondering why they don't want us to launch a product on time. We want to be in the market like yesterday. We're also wondering why maybe payment system management department is holding us, and they are insisting that we must come for approval before and we get our product launched. We see a lot of back and forth with our regulators telling us, no, you can't go live because you have not done certain things. I know sometimes, we sometimes wonder that, oh, they probably don't know what we are trying to achieve. But when we sit down with them and they begin to pick out some things for us, most times we've not even looked at that direction. So by the time they highlight some certain things for us and tell us to go back, go and review what we have done, we truly now appreciate the reason why that is done, because they see the bigger picture. They see almost all sides of the coin. In fact, they see all the sides of the coin. And it's because they have done various things in different areas and they're able to see better. And just the same way, compliance in the bank too would have seen, where they are dealing with treasury related issues, where there is a treasury risk to the product that we are talking about, where they are also looking at other issues, even on the application side. So just engaging us, getting all of those things checked, it shows us a lot how important we need to get compliance, to review everything we do. It's just right and just normal that controls must be in place for anything to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. You've just walked us through the many reasons as to why compliance is super important, beyond what the superficial eye can see on face value. And now I'd like to come to you, Mr. Francis. Now let's talk about disruptive technology. There's been so much talk about it. It's not new. But how do you think, or what would you recommend as a strategy if we had to deploy tech, right, as industry experts? What would be your strategy for enhancing financial security and efficiency, still taking compliance into cognizance? What strategies would make so much sense to adopt today in line with the fast pace that tech is going, and just ensuring that we adapt and we stay on top of things?
Okay, thank you, everyone. So, of course, in the technological advancements, looking into compliance as an underlying factor. In the modern terms, we've seen a lot of disruptions, and of course, most of the changes today is being driven by tech innovations. So, but then there are still opportunities, of course, where we can, leverage on compliance. So, first of all, while we are implementing or coming up with new technological advancements, we'll also make sure that all the regulations are strictly followed. So, for example, we have the PCI DSS. So, new technologies, they must conform to such international regulations. Then we have of course, in the financial system today, where we have the AML, the anti-money laundering, guidelines. So these are the things we will also make sure that we are in place to guide technological innovations, to make sure that as we are all pushing towards technological advancements that can speed up payment processing, transaction processing, these laws and guidelines are in place to enforce their checks and balances, and we don't get burnt in the long run. But of course, technology advancements will always keep coming up. We can't stand. We have to keep moving in the technological world we have now. As we all know how critical artificial intelligence has become. AI technology now is very, very important and needed in our services, in our processes at the moment. So I can give you some scenarios whereby we've introduced AIs. We have instances whereby robotic automations have come in for mundane or repetitive tasks. But then, in as much as we are implementing these AI driven technologies, we are also not falling short of the regulations, and we're also not falling short of the guidelines. So that as we're embracing technology, we are embracing innovations. We are not going contrary to the laws and regulations on ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You just touched on the importance of achieving that fine, seamless blend when embracing technology, why it's important to run along still within the framework of regulation as well as guidelines. Now I know that Mr. Ebenezer, you play in the fintech space very actively, and so I feel like this question is very fitting for you. Now in talking about technology, right, can you highlight some of the potential, let's get to the crux of the matter, potential of innovative technologies? I mean, he's mentioned AI, but when we talk about monitoring systems for compliance, blockchain for instance, in ensuring that we have data integrity and we strengthen security measures, can you touch a bit on how we can deploy technology and the potentials that reside within that space in ensuring data integrity or other possible advantages and potential that, you know, that world offers to us?
Thank you very much. The potential which this framework has brought to light, let me even say thank you to our regulators, because they have really improved the processes and they've factored in fintech partnerships into everything which we are doing. So today there is serious collaboration between the fintechs and the traditional banks, and that has actually led to a bit of framework that they came up with. A very good example is the Open Banking API. So today, the Open Banking framework has come to place, where we have the users, we have the aggregators, and we also have the data consumers. So that has brought fintechs and also banks into place, so that fintechs will be able to take data from banks, and they are able to use those data, you know, just like my colleague said, you know, artificial intelligence, use of machine learning, and they are able to use those data to predict the needs of customers. And that collaboration has also brought about innovation to the banking space, because what the fintechs have been able to do in essence is what will happen in the next 2 years. They've been able to come up with those products today, and banks are able to sell, and the fintechs are more or less like powering what the banks are selling. So another thing is in terms of encryption. So today when we give out APIs to fintechs, it is very necessary for us to be able to encrypt those APIs. It is important for us to also be able to tag those APIs and also do a bit of vulnerability assessment and penetration testing on the APIs given to them, because yes, they will use those APIs, I mean application programming interface, they'll be able to use those those APIs for a whole lot of things. So in terms of data privacy, encryption has come to place. There's a framework to this effect, and there are also some ISOs that banks and fintechs need to have, so that this can customers' data can be well protected. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I like the fact that, you know, traditional banks, like you mentioned, and fintech are now more than ever before collaborating to ensure that they can share data, you know, predict customers' needs and preferences. It all plays out for the greater good of everyone in the value chain. But I now want to talk about challenges, because we cannot downplay that there are indeed active, real challenges within the scope of the conversations that we're having right now. And so I would like to direct this question to you, Abidemi. Let's talk about the challenges.
There's anything we do in life, whatever challenge that you meet, you must cross it. It's only if you don't want to strive in life. So there will be hurdles, and I know that for all the hurdles, if you are forward-looking, you will cross those challenges. I think for banks, really, one of the fundamental things that would cause probably a change in solution or application or anything is legacy systems. Legacy systems is a major one, and we have seen it happen even in recent times. We know that some banks are carrying out some upgrade, which is also extremely necessary. Yes, the citizens are affected, but those upgrades are actually necessary just to also avoid some of the things that we are talking about in terms of security, because if those upgrades are not addressed, what it means is that they could have several attacks. And so it's important they carry out those upgrades. And because over the years they've had legacy systems, and that change will really impact their business. I know that sometimes when we want to even, without even a major change, when we want to even change into a new, probably a new solution, we go from various environments, from test environment, live environment, all of those things, just to be sure that you are good. And then eventually when you move to your live environment, it's a totally different ballgame. And then you begin to have issues and challenges, which you eventually cross that particular hurdle. So because, and now think about the bigger picture where we want to now use AI to actually combat some of the AI tools for compliance. Is we also know that those tools will be integrated into our legacy systems. That, you know, one way or the other, we brought in this solution, brought in that solution, different solutions that is eventually being presented to our customers so that we will always service our customers well. So legacy solutions has actually been one of the major issues for us. Will be a major issue, but are they surmountable? Yes, they are surmountable. Now, introducing AI is actually new for a lot of people, but just taking it to the basics where you use even AI to communicate or to get information today, because your phone is already reading you and understands you. Have you guys experienced, maybe you're thinking about something or you're talking about something, and then the next thing it comes to you? That's the power of the world we are moving into. And just imagine AI interpreting, oh, you're going to change solution, you're going to do this, and it's already coming up with so many other things. And then you also have some bad boys out there also trying to read into what you're going to, and they're using this same AI to interpret these changes that is happening. So that's also another major issue. The fact that people also would I want to say, if you're not interested in technology, even at this time, please, I just beg everybody here, you just have to do something. That's just the truth. They have been telling us with AI take over our work. We all know, I'm sure we hear it. AI won't take over our work, just as the introduction of computers didn't take over our work. But if you fail to learn what AI can do and not do, then it will take over your work. So that's it for. So what I'm actually going to here is about training and capacity development. So if that doesn't happen, that would also be a challenge too. So the more we get to know, the more we get to train ourselves, or our inability to do that is obviously going to be a challenge. So this probably is just jumping one or two, but those are some major challenges that would affect us.
We're going to come back a bit towards the end of the conversation, so we'll be able to touch more on the importance of training and education, both for staff and customers. But I want us to double down a bit more on threats, because you spoke about that as well. Cyber threats in financial services. Let's talk a bit more about how these threats continue to evolve almost each day. I'd like to ask you, sir, what do you think, why do you think it's so important that we harness very robust cybersecurity measures that can help to safeguard our financial services?
What I think we can actually do, to tackle some of these threats or prevent them is to having robust cybersecurity implementations in our systems. So today we have the opportunity of installing AI technology that can capture more like a fraud intrusive detection systems. And with AI as well, you can also leverage on it to also understand patterns. Because the truth is, sometimes the fraudulent transactions, mere looking at it, maybe after it has happened, you may see a certain pattern. And from the top of your head or from looking at it, you can actually know they are fraudulent transactions. So we'll have to leverage on technology, because if you say let's just sit down and be monitoring, there's little or nothing, or there's, a human being can actually do the most that he can actually do. But if you have an anti-fraud monitoring system implemented that is AI driven, that be able to monitor intrusive, connections into your system, you can proactively detect and stop these fraudulent activities. So we talked a lot about AI, and also there is also opportunities of implementing blockchain technology, because we all know what blockchain is about. For those of us that don't really know, blockchain is a secured, more like system that doesn't allow changes. And then if there was going to be any changes or updates, of course, it will be clearly captured. You'd have an audit trail that you can actually see the activities of any, updates that have been carried out. So these are some of the things I think we can actually do in terms of, harnessing fraud. As transactions keep growing, as there is need for more payment adoption, of course we have the bad guys out there trying to exploit the system. So what we just keep doing is to keep innovating. And how do we really innovate? Is by leveraging on technology, and with your anti-fraud monitoring systems, it can play a very critical role in that aspect. Then we also look at training, of course. Training is also very, very important. I know that in the current climate that we are in now, we've seen a lot of exit of skilled labor, of course. So what we just keep doing is we have to keep retraining, retraining staff, and then also know that we have to, adopt the best technology. As we keep getting improvements, artificial learning is coming up, and also machine learning is also coming up. As we keep seeing these things, we should be free to adopt it, and ultimately we would be able to minimize the risk of fraud. Thank you.
For sharing those fine insights. I really like the fact that you mentioned that even as we deploy technology can also come inclusive with fraud detection systems. So that's something that's really interesting. I know that you already talked about data sharing, but can we now also touch briefly on how we can enhance coordinated response strategies in talking about fortifying the resilience of our banking ecosystem, still talking about security. How do you think that we can very, very proactively, ensure that our response strategies are very coordinated so that our banking systems are very resilient and agile as well?
Thank you very much. So this can be done through enhanced incident reporting. So it's good for banks and also for financial institutions, other financial institutions, not to keep quiet when they fall into trouble. So when you fall into trouble, when phishing happens or any form of fraud happens, there's a need for you to collaborate with your other financial institutions, so that and you also come up with your incident report. With that, there's going to be more or less like knowledge sharing. People are able to come together to ensure that money is not lost, and to ensure that that there is restoration of service. Let me put it that way. Another thing that can also be done is knowledge sharing. So, like what we are having today, we are sharing knowledge. No man is an island. Banks should come together, and that's why we've been able to form some groups. Like the CBCS, NBCS, yes, like what we're having today, the CB and others. So we have a lot of groups that are able to come together, and when you come together, you get to know more about what is happening at other places, and you will be able to reinforce your systems. So in that manner, banks and fintechs will be able to restore their service. Another thing that, like my colleague also said, is about training. So training matters a lot, and quality of technology that is being deployed also matters. Like I also said before, when you come together, you will know the advanced technology that can be put into place. Like Madam Bidemi said initially that there are some other guys out there that our guys are going on training, they are also going on training. So they are getting updated. So and they're to form pressure groups that will ensure that we are able to alienate something of this nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you spoke on the importance.
I just wanted to add to what I said. And just it's still around the power of collaboration. So both of us really, we belong to a committee, just like we have this committee too. There's also committee of e-business industry heads. And I'm happy to say that in the next few weeks, precisely 4th and 5th of next month, we'll be having our conference. Like I said, CB will be launching this on the 4th, 5th of December, and it's going to be a big one. We'll be making some announcements and pronouncements, and this is for us as a way of contributing to the payment space, and most importantly, reducing significantly the fraud level, which is one of the major mantras of CB. Thank you.
That's really very laudable. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's something exciting to look forward to, knowing that you can have all key players get real-time notifications when something really sad or terrible happens. I look forward to seeing how that plays out. All right, now as we begin to wrap up our thoughts, because I know time is fast spent, as we begin to wrap up our thoughts on everything that has been dished on, not just at the panel session, but even from the beginning of this very event, I'd like us to share our final thoughts on the key things that we really should be doing today and the utopian world that we all envisage for our financial system when it comes to financial security as well as efficiency. What's that utopian world that we really envisage or we look forward to in terms of having the most proactive, the most resilient financial system?
And be intentional about it. That's the word. You just must be intentional about getting to know new things and how these things will affect you, your community, your environment, and where you work, and even the world as a whole. So if you don't move in that space, of course it has a major negative impact on it. So for me, my last word would be, get yourself trained every day, every time, every minute, every second, every 5 minutes and everything. Thank you.
Get 2 feet in the door, not just 1 foot, when it comes to financial security and efficiency.
Okay, for me, I think a combination of AI technology, there has to be increased adoption of AI technology because that's where the world is going to. Secondly, I think blockchain technology as well, implementing it in our settlement processes. I think that is also a key area which we should, start looking out for, because that's where the future is, and that's where, with blockchain technology, you can't overemphasize how important role it plays in terms of, improved security. Then we have to start looking at open banking as well. Open banking is another area we also need to look at. As it also will drive, payment systems, and it will drive the improvement of our payment system and financial technology as well. And lastly, for me, I feel we also have to start looking at our regulatory technology. How do we, bring in technology in our regulatory processes? Because of course, there has to be control. There has to be checks and balances. So see how we can bring in, leverage technology in our regulations as we are going into the fast-paced world of AI, open banking, blockchain. Let's also start putting in frameworks in place for how we can advance our regulatory and compliance monitoring and advance it technologically, because that has to keep pace with, the other improvements or trends or innovations that I've actually mentioned. Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Thank you. And finally, Ebenezer, what would be your rousing charge to every industry expert, stakeholder, when we're talking about the need to embrace speed, technology, work within the regulatory framework, compliance, innovation, as well as just staying, aware and secure when it comes to mitigating risk. What would be your rousing charge to everyone in this room right now?
Thank you. So it's just like my colleague said, it's in terms of training. And another thing is, let us develop the culture of being compliant. Frameworks are in place to guide us. If you go outside the framework, then there is every possibility for you to fall into a trap. And looking at the last cybersecurity week which we had last month, I think the one for this year had a lot of impact. I mean, compared to other years, because they actually went into the grassroots. People who do not know, okay, my 5-year and my primary, my child as in basic 5 was able to talk to me about cybersecurity, and I was wondering that it simply means a lot of people went to their schools, and that was what really happened, to educate them about cybersecurity. Today, we see children with iPads, and those iPads are connected to the internet. They do not know the kind of danger or exposure that they are being, that they are, I mean, the kind of danger or exposure that they are prone to. But with the cybersecurity week, I think both regulators, banks, fintechs, they took it upon their shoulders, all stakeholders took it upon their shoulders to ensure that they were able to educate people very well about the importance of cybersecurity. So in essence, the major thing here is collaboration. Stakeholders involving regulators, banks, fintechs, and every other person need to come together and ensure that the resources which we have are harnessed so that we can get to the next level. Thank you.
So much. I really have to express my candid appreciation to everyone here on this stage right now. You've done so much justice to the topic of technology and compliance in advancing clearing and payment platforms. Thank you so much, Abidemi Asumo, Francis Madueke, Ebenezer Akiyemi. Thank you so much for your time. Before we leave, before I let them go, I don't know if we'll have time for just one question. Okay. Can we have someone pass the mic?
And it's more of a comment, and the question will come after. And it's just a comment about the upgrade. I've been a technical person all my career, and I've witnessed so many upgrades. So, like you rightly mentioned, it's something important, because you don't upgrade your system, hackers will have understanding and the like, and that upgrade may not be directly on the same core banking solution, it may be a new core banking solution. So, in theory, easier said than done. In theory, you will be hearing things like quality assurance, stress test, pilot operation, rollback plans, best cut-off for life, business continuity plan, then trading conflict. Now, when you finally go live, most institutions will drop the ball at that point, and the impact will be on the customer. The quality of services will be rendering to customers will drop at that point, and that is what we need to do deeply. We need to have plan for the customer. How do we take care of their request? Because the change, we understood that the change internally, the effect of that change on the customer, we need to prepare for it. And most institutions, they always create what we call war room at that time. Even not at war, that room is called the war room. That means you have all you need in this world in that room to make sure your customer is not impacted as far as your upgrade is concerned. So we need to look deeply into it. If before now, for the legacy system like rightly mentioned, it will take 2 days to return my money that is more impact to the final beneficiary. It should still be within that 2 days. Whatever new solution I have, we should use every tool we have, people, technology, anything we have to make sure that the customer experience is the same. Thank you.
By whatever eventualities might occur. Thank you so much for sharing that thought with us. It's important to upgrade. You cannot say, oh, because you want things to stay the same, the comfort zone is not even a comfort zone anymore. So it's important that we continue to carry out upgrades. Thank you so much. Let's now hear from you, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And I'm also so concerned that I hope most of us will take so much home because I hear noise at the back. So it seems we're just talking to the very few. And I would advise that the coordinator create a better environment in future. First, mine is an advice taken from all the discussion today. And I'm so happy that the speaker made mention of support from the regulator in terms of seeking approval for new technology or new product deployment. I think strong and great relationship, but the gap is that banks or the fintechs don't come in good time. So you want to deploy next week and you're sending an approval letter to the CBN. I would also like to announce that the CBN has commenced the regulatory sandbox. So even when you're not sure of the product, you can come into the sandbox environment, and as you're working, you're also processing the approval. That way, time to market would be reduced. Then there is also need to focus more on several tools, both reconciliation, behavioral monitoring tools, because you can see we have so much ideas, so many ideas, but how well have we deployed or put that into use in safeguarding the ecosystem? You find same fraud or same fraudster hitting different banks. You find a fraud happening in a system or a bank for a very long period of time. But if you have a behavioral monitoring tool, I don't know, I remember in those days we used to have what we call end of day, end of week, month. That should trigger an unusual behavior that should help us stop anything that will lead to fraud. And finally, this is a take back for us. Should we engage the ISO certification company if we can classify this? I think this also goes to my IT. If we can classify it under shared services. Because while the bigger banks can afford the cost attached or to enable you become certified, I think there is challenge with the smaller fintech. Unfortunately, because of interoperability, if one is not fully secured, an intruder can get through the unsecured one. So I think it's a take back to us. We can discuss that at CD level and see how best we can manage it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And on this note, I would like us to put our hands together as we appreciate all the brilliant panelists who have been on the panel session today. Abidemi Asuma from e-Business and Transaction Banking, Francis Madueke from Technology, and Ebenezer Akinyemi from FinTech Partnership. Thank you so much. And as they leave the stage, please keep the applause going. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate them well. All right, photograph, please. All right, coming up next, the group presentations. Group 1 to 5, please get your...
Hello, good afternoon.
Which may we know you?
Okay, my name is Abidemi Asimo. I'm the group head of e-Business and Transaction Banking, Premium Trust Bank. I'm also the vice chairman of the Committee of E-Business Industry Heads.
Okay, nice to meet you, ma'am. We're here for the 10th annual Nigerian Banking Clearing System Conference. So, regarding to what we are here to do today, do you think that collaboration between banks, fintechs, and regulators can bring about efficiency in the clearing and payment system?
Oh, thank you for that question. And absolutely, it's a yes for me. collaboration is key, and collaboration is very extremely important in the payment ecosystem, be it banks, be it regulators, be it even the fintechs, and maybe, just everybody. As long as you pass through the financial and payment ecosystem, collaboration is important. So when you think of security, when you think of compliance, when you think of even servicing the customer and meeting the needs of the customers, the more we collaborate, the better. The more we collaborate, especially in terms of compliance, security, and risk, because that sort of strengthens the payment system and also builds trust even to the customers that we serve.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. Do you also think that incorporating the new upgraded technology into the bank, like machine learning and AI, into the banking system, do you think it's going to make security more efficient?
Okay, of course, introducing AI and machine learning tools into the payment system will obviously advance the payment system. Just as AI is advancing everything we do in our daily life, it's just the same way it also helps us in the payment system. So it's able to read, it's able to understand, it's able to predict the things we should do and do better. We obviously also know that it has some disadvantages too, but the advantages over and supersedes the disadvantage. So using AI tools to help us fast track innovation, fast track the payment system is actually the way to go. Are we ready for it? Are banks ready for it? Are payment systems ready for it? Even the whole payment ecosystem, I would say yes, we are ready for it. However, what we need to keep doing is to keep improving in technology and also in terms of training, customer engagement, and also acquisition of knowledge. I think that would actually help in a lot of ways. And like I mentioned earlier, I am the Vice Chairman of Committee of E-Business Industry Heads, and as the Vice Chairman of Committee of E-Business Industry Heads, and Committee of E-Business as a whole, we have a responsibility to ensure that we achieve all that is set in terms of the payments ecosystem. The industry believes in us, and we also believe that we will deliver on the mandate that has been given to us.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let me ask you this last one. Do you think the payments banking clearing system can be 100% secured in terms of fraud, theft, and all that?
Okay, in every payment world, and if I tell you here that all over the world that payments happens, and typically payments happen everywhere in the financial ecosystem all over the world. Have we seen a situation where it is zero fraud? No. But what we strive to do is to ensure that there is minimal fraud. There will always be bad eggs among the society, and as long as there are bad eggs among the society, you will see people that will test the system. But in terms of readiness, are we ready to curb all of that? We as institutions today are ensuring and putting things in place to ensure that that the ecosystem is protected. In terms of the kind of infrastructure solution, fraud management tool that we put in place, we are ensuring that I'm sure you do that. We're ensuring that we'll make sure that the payment ecosystem is secure. That I can assure you that Nigeria is doing. The CBN is on it. Nigeria Interbank Settlement is on it. And banks, even individually, have put in a lot of resources and infrastructure to ensure that we have less fraud and fraud is reduced to the barest minimum. As Committee of E-Business Heads, and that's CB, we will be launching our own solution to sort of be our own way of telling the public that we are ready to curb and address the fraudulent situation. So our annual conference is coming up. Meet us at Eco Hotel, 4th and 5th of December. We'll be having Committee of E-Business Heads annual conference. And part of the agenda is us also launching our website.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Miss, may we know you?
My name is Favor Idigo.
And what do you do?
Operational Risk Officer.
Wow, that's interesting. So practically you can tell us about everything we're here today, because we are here to talk about basically security, clearance and payment. Okay, now I want to ask you this question. When it comes to the speed of transactions, these days when you make a transaction from one bank to another, it takes 5 seconds. and then it goes. Do you think that with this speed, do you think that it will also be secured? How do we balance security and that speed when it comes to transactions?
Okay, thank you very much. I think one of the basic things, the world is evolving, so it means that a lot of changes are happening in technology space. And speed is one of the things that would actually help boost transactions. I think the basic way of balancing it out would be ensuring that even before that transaction is consummated, you try as much as possible to ensure that the measures, the processes that are expected to have been taken to do that is actually, you actually carry out that process and ensure that it is secure, it is safe, such that when the transaction is consummated, you don't have reasons to be afraid of whether or not this transaction had gone through. So I would say, for instance, for transactions, you would actually start from like your KYC. You must ensure that you know the customer. You already understand if you're banking somebody, you're banking the right kind of person, you know the information, you have the information about the person, and that makes it easy for you to be able to determine the customer and also know if that customer is actually a customer who is going to be able to bank with you, so that when transactions come in and they are fast, you're able to carry out those transactions. And then on the other aspects of considering outsiders or hackers or attackers, I think to a very large extent, if the security and the standards that has been stipulated by the regulator is put in place, then you would be able to be sure that you can protect information security.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, secondly, I'd like to, when we talk about fraud, thefts, identity theft, phishing and all that, people tend to think, oh, it just happens in Nigeria. You understand? But do you think that this fraud, theft, all everything, is it global, or do you think it's more concentrated when it comes to Nigeria here?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I think basically fraud, theft, all these risks you've mentioned are actually a global phenomenon. It's not peculiar to Nigeria, but we'll say that to a very large extent. The extent to which you're able to prevent it, the extent to which you are able to proactively put measures in place, the extent to which you're able to ensure that you safeguard your organization, it will actually help prevent those frauds from crystallizing. So it's not like, so we might just say to a very large extent that cases where you see this prevalent, they have not put in the right measure or mitigants that will help to prevent to a very large extent these frauds from happening. So the advice would be basically ensure that your processes, your policies, the information security standards that have been put in place are actually followed to the latter, so that you'll be able to achieve preventing frauds from occurring in your organization.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, what's your name again?
Favor Idigo.
All right, it's nice to meet you, Favor.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
We have learned that as the digital frontier expands, the importance of securing our payment system and ensuring the smooth flow of financial transactions has never been greater. The various discussions have highlighted how innovation is not only enhancing efficiency, but also driving trust in our financial system. Perhaps the most important thing that has emerged today is the need for collaboration. Whether it is between financial institutions, regulators, or the technology providers, we must work together to navigate this digital frontier. It is only through collective effort and shared vision that we can build a future where financial security is paramount and efficiency is at the core of every transaction. As we live here today, let's carry with us the knowledge that the journey ahead will require agility, resilience, and foresight. The landscape is constantly shifting, but with the insights we have gained today, we are better prepared to tackle the challenges and seize the opportunities that the future holds. As we move forward, let us implement actionable insights and strategies, continue knowledge sharing and collaboration, and drive progress and innovation. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers for sharing their expertise, our sponsors and partners for their generous support, the organizing committee for their tireless effort, and each of you for your participation and enthusiasm. Your commitment to enhancing financial security and efficiency will be critical as we move forward into this new era of digital finance. Finally,
I encourage each of you to continue the conversation that started here today. Share ideas, build partnerships, and work together to shape the future of the clearing and payment systems. The digital frontier is ours to navigate, and with the expertise and vision we have gathered today, I'm confident we are on the right path. Thank you once again for being part of this important event, and I wish you all successes as we continue to work towards a more secure and efficient financial ecosystem. Safe travels, and we look forward to reconnecting soon at the 11th edition of this critical conference. Thank you very much.
A round of applause, please. What a day, what a phenomenal day we've had. One day that has been packed with rich insights when it comes to how we can navigate our current digital landscape, when it comes to financial security and efficiency in our digital clearing and payment systems. I hope that we've taken the mental and, if possible, the physical note of so many take-homes that we have garnered here today, and that most importantly, we can begin to implement and put this to good use and structure best practices for our financial institutions, and that we can continue to keep pace with all the digital trends and innovation that is driving the sector, while we continue to pay attention to threats and continue to stay cyber aware. Thank you so much to everyone who took time out of their busy schedule to be here. Thank you to all our dignitaries, industry stakeholders and experts who made themselves graciously available to honor this wonderful grand event.
All right, so permit me now, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the committee to come forward. That will be led by Gafar Idris. Please, could you please get your entire committee to come and take a bow? Clapping, keep clapping, please. These guys have made this whole thing, you know, the coordination, the organization. These are the people that put this together. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the energy. They wish to take a bow. So you can hold hand and do it. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's take a bow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just a moment for the picture. Just a moment, please.
Well done to the brilliant and resourceful minds who have put together this wonderful, phenomenal event. They are absolutely deserving of recognition and appreciation. Once more, can we put our hands together for this fantastic team? And we can expect nothing less and even better when we convene here next year at the 12th edition of the Nigerian Bankers Clearing System Conference 2025. Would you be here next year? As long as God keeps us alive, yes.
Please, the branch controller, please, we appeal to you to come and join us in this other photograph. And Mr. Sonny Daibo, please, we appeal and say sorry for the noise that you mentioned earlier on, and we promise, hopefully, they're going to behave come next year. All right, banks, I'm going to be calling banks to come take pictures.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Please, can I know your name?
Okay, my name is Collins Okonkwo. I work with Parallels Bank, the Limitless Bank, and the digital bank #1 in Nigeria. Okay, I'm an e-business. I work with e-business in Parallels Bank, a settlement officer. I also do clearing, check clearing and all that. So that's what I do with Parallels Bank.
Okay, so can you briefly tell us why we're here today?
Okay, why we're here today is just for our normal annual conference, which has to do with check clearings and settlement. And if you have been here since morning, you can see all the speakers have given a clear details of what we are looking out for and what the clearing system is all about. So it was a fantastic conference. I will look forward for a better days ahead.
All right, thank you, sir. So how do you think we can incorporate security into the clearing system?
Yes, technology is one thing that keeps growing every day and every time. The way it is yesterday is not the same thing today. So I believe banks are really working seriously hard on the technology aspect, and that's why you can see today different innovation are coming into the clearing system. Before now, days back, you can see clearing for like 21 days to clear a check. But today now we look at just T+1. So currently now the banking industry is trying to go out from the T+1 system. They are looking out for a 24-hour system whereby customers, merchants get their money within 24 hours. So I feel great to be here, and I feel honored to be here. And I believe Nigeria banking system are doing a very great job, and they will get there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Please, what's your name once again?
My name is Collins Okonkwo. I work with Parallels Bank, the Limitless Bank. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Please, can we know you?
My name is Chinedu Kebugu. I was the former head of clearing Citibank. So this is my last clearing conference I'll be attending. I'm handing over to someone else. His name is Tunde Salau. Yeah.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
So today's conference is about clearing, payment, and security.
Yes.
So how do you think clearing payments in banking can be incorporated with security?
So the thing is, clearing itself, one of the focal points of clearing is security. Now, if you speak with people that have been in clearing, right, especially check clearing, we have what we call the clearing controls. Now, the clearing controls basically speaks to security around the clearing process. So there's no way you'll be talking about clearing and you won't talk about security. Everything about clearing revolves around security. You don't want to pay a fraudulent check, you want to give value to a transaction that you've not confirmed, and things like that. It has to be, they are both intertwined. You can't talk to them one against the other. Yeah.
Okay, now talking about security. Now, upgraded versions like AI, machine learning have been incorporated. Do you think that this updated AI will not, put people out of their jobs?
So now you have a valid point. However, we have to evolve, right? We need to grow. There's a reason why we have technology, right? What the expectation is that the people in clearing, those that are possibly in clearing, checks are reducing, you need to upgrade yourself. If you look at clearing with the eye that, okay, we have AI, people are going to lose their job, they won't make any progress. Do you get? AI is a good thing. Artificial intelligence is fantastic. It makes the work easier. Processes that used to be handled, that you need people sweating in the office, now you have AI to do it. So now this person can have a better work and life balance. So it's not, we will not look at it like it's a bad thing, like people are losing the job. You just encourage people to diversify. Get some more certification, do one or two things that will make you sellable in other aspects, but we still would encourage artificial intelligence.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for that. So do you think this machine learning AI, do you think it's really going to reduce the rate of theft and fraud the way it has been in the last 5 or 10 years?
Oh, definitely. It's just the application, right? So before now, there's something that was that's been in the offing to have image recognition. Before now, you have to physically truncate your check. You have to send it to clearing. But the industry, it hasn't gone live yet. But there used to be a process where you just take a picture from your office and you send it to clearing. That has a whole lot of AI involved in it because the system identifies the check, reads the MICA line and everything, right? So definitely with time, if AI is incorporated properly in the clearing process, it will be secure. I believe so, yeah.
So do you think we can have like 100% security when it comes to transactions, payment and clearing?
And so because we are not going to move to 100% automation, you cannot have 100% security, right? As long as there's a human touch, as long as there's a manual intervention in any form of clearing, you cannot have 100%. The best you can do is to build in controls, right? You build in very good controls that will now mitigate for whatever risk that there is. But as long as you're not doing anything 100%, you can have 100% control, right?
Thank you so much for the interview, sir. Please, your name once again?
Chinedu Kebugu, Citibank. Thank you.
All right, nice to meet you, sir.
Pleasure.
All right, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Please.
I'm Chika Okeke.
And you are?
I'm an MC, broadcaster, and TV personality.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
Okay, so we are live for the 10th edition of the Clearance and Payments. Please, can you tell us, I know you've been handling this for a while now.
Yes, I have.
So can you tell us, like, briefly, what is this about?
All right, so the Nigerian Banking and Clearing Payment System Conference is an annual conference that gathers together industry experts, stakeholders, and all of the industry leaders in the payment and clearing system sector in Nigeria. So we come together and we talk about how technology is driving innovation in the financial services sector, but how we can continue to pay attention to threats and ensure that our cybersecurity measures are up to date, so that we can continue to foster a space where customers can feel secure, we can earn customers' integrity and trust, and we can continue to, adapt to the ever-changing digital landscape that we find ourselves in. So this is a melting pot, this is a testing ground for ideas and strategies that actually help to harness all of the wonderful work, the wonderful innovative work that we're doing right here in the banking and clearing payment systems in Nigeria.
Right, thank you so much for that. So far so good. Do you think that this conference has added a positive value to what exactly you're trying to do, the payment clearing and security? Do you think it has added an added value?
Oh, absolutely. Such impactful sessions that we've had. If you listen from the very beginning, we had keynote speakers. We had a panel session that delved into everything: checks clearing, cyber risk mitigation, A2A payment systems. So many brilliant conversations surrounding the future of payments in Nigeria and how we can continue to concretize and achieve that fine synergy between innovation and technology, as well as ensuring that we have a robust framework for compliance. So we talked about a whole lot, and there's so much. I'm sure that everybody is living here with take-homes that can impact their individual financial institutions.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Can you tell us your name?
My name is Joseph Tochikumbeu.
Okay, and you are?
Joseph, I'm from Jais Bank.
Jais Bank?
Yeah.
So what's your job at Jais Bank?
Currently, I'm the CSS, Customer Service Staff in Jais Bank.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Same here.
Okay, we are the 10th Bankers Clearance and Payment Summit. So do you think you've been here all along? Can you tell us a few points about the impactful knowledge that we've gained here today?
Yes, it's been an amazing program, and so far I enjoyed myself and I got a lot of knowledge regarding to the system and also the upgrade and what we are looking forward to get in the future. It's been enlightenment of what the system is all about, and we are expecting a new upgrades and what the system will bring forward to us.
All right, thank you so much. So do you think this system upgrade, I mean, you're talking about like AI, machine learning and all of that. Do you think they're really going to help curb fraud and theft in the banking system?
Yes, it will help a lot, because for one the lecturer talked about, the AI will help us to identify these thefts and transactions that are not permissible and transactions that were not inclusive or that was not consummated by the account holder. The AI will be able to let us know. You understand? And it will be able to alert us and update us to know that this transaction was not initiated by the account holders. So with all these in play, it gives a security check and helps to protect an account holder when it comes to transactions and funds movements. So with this, it will reduce the rate of fraudulent transaction in the system. It's a +1 in the system.
All right, thank you so much for the interview. Please, your name once again?
My name is Joseph Tochikumbeu. I'm from Jais Bank, Nigeria, PLC.
All right, nice to meet you, Kakochu.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm John Olofunade. I work with Signature Bank.
What's your job?
Okay, I'm head of domestic operations, and this involves clearing and payments and the likes.
Okay, so while we were in, you were given a presentation about A2A payments, right?
Yes.
Please, can you brief us a little bit on that?
Okay, thank you so much. We're talking about the future of payments in clearing and the future of clearing. So A2A payment is doing transfers within bank without payment processor. Just like now, if I want to clear a check, I don't need any payment processor to clear that check. So we are saying, can we do an instant payment that I don't need processor for? That is what A2A payment is all about. And from what we have seen, from what I presented, we've seen that it's possible. It's been done in some part of the world where you can do transfers within bank without going to all the processors or the payment gateway. That is what A2A payment is all about.
Okay, so the most important thing when it comes to payment and clearance is security.
Yes.
Now, when we want to talk about this A2A payment, is it going to be secured? Is it going to give us that 100% security?
Yes, it will be fully secure because it's even very secure in the sense that there's no third party involved. It's just within bank A to bank B. Like currently, if you are doing an instant payment, there's always a middleman, a processor. But with A2A payments, there is no middleman, so it's just from bank A to bank B. So I tell you, it's 100% secure.
Okay, now when we are talking about one bank to another without a processor, so do you not think that when those intermediaries are being, left out, do you think that it's not going to affect their jobs and all that?
No, it's now currently there are a lot of payment options. Okay, so it's just another option for customers because it will be secure, it will be fast, less cost for both customers and the banks. So it's just another option. Like now currently now you have different type of payment options. You have checks, you have floater payments, you have e-transfer. There are a lot of payment options. So it's just creating additional options for customers when they need to make payment, and also the part of instant settlement. Of course, you are taking job from some people to create more jobs. So it's just like redistributing the job. That's just what it is. So nobody's going to lose the job. Just another option for customers to serve them better. That's just what it's all about.
Thank you so much for the interview. What's your name once again?
Yeah, I'm John Olofulade. I work with Signature Bank.
Nice to meet you, Mr. John.
Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Please tell us your name.
My name is Samuel Kendi.
So, what's your job?
Yeah, I work in Wema as a clearing officer. So we're talking about the payment system, probably NEFT, that's Nigeria Electronic Fund Transfer. So we do clear checks and we also do fund transfers.
Okay, now talking about clearance payment, how do you think that when it comes to clearance payments between interbanks, how secured are the transactions? How fraud-free are they?
To be candid, we all know that the payment system in Nigeria and this part of the country, compared to the Western world, is actually better, the payment system. And to a certain extent, there's room for improvement, but we will say we need more of collaboration between banks and other financial institutions to secure the space more. But to be candid, it has been, will I say, good. But to foster more relationship and more collaboration between banks and other financial institutions.
All right, thank you for that. So can you tell us the future of clearance and payments in the next, let's say, 10 years? What do you see? What future do you see?
To be serious, yeah, like when it comes to checks now, we know that there's a decline in checks, and we know we're talking about the electronic checks, and we are seeing where checks can now be T+0, that is, you get instant settlement for your check transaction, and I think that's where we are moving forward to, where you can now get instant settlement for your transaction you do. So I think that's the future.
All right, thank you so much. Your name once again?
My name is Samuel Kendi.
All right, nice to meet you, Kendi.
Thank you for
having me. Have a nice day. Please sit down again.
So my name is Robert Smart. I work with Wema Bank as a clearing officer.
A clearing officer. So that means that our transactions are 100% safe in your hands.
Yeah, I can say that to an extent, based on the current framework, with the help of cyber securities and our, IT professionals, they've ensured that all our customers' transactions are secure as long as we follow through the laid down policies and guidelines, to keep customers and funds safe. So of course, yes, we are safe, and as well with the help of the MICA teams and the technology in terms of check printing and security features to encode and keep all of the customers' account and information safe. So to an extent, yes, I can say that. But okay, it's just that recently there has been this thing called I think check kiting. It's no longer check kiting, but just personally, just my own experience. Recently I've been seeing situations where some people go ahead to steal customers' check. Like they steal, let's say they steal your check and they go ahead to present it. They steal your check, they steal your signature, like they go ahead to present it at the
identity theft.
Exactly, identity theft. Go ahead to present it at the bank or use it to purchase goods and present the check to them, and because of checks are T+1 right now. So when they present the check, they will probably have carted away with the goods before the check finally cleared. And when the check clears and the check is being returned back to the customer as account not funded, it becomes a problem, a trouble, because the buyer of the goods has carted away with the items and now the money is nowhere. So those are the inherent risks that is in clearing currently, and they are still coming up with ways to mitigate that. I can't tell you for a fact that has been completely eliminated, but one thing I can say is that customers need to secure their checks. They shouldn't just lay their check fallow anyhow, because this is also an instrument of a payment instrument, and it should be personal, it should be secured and safe. Yeah.
How else do you think you can reduce this fraud, theft, phishing, and so on and so forth? I mean, with the help of this current upgrade and policies like the machine learning, AI, and so on, how do you think you can reduce fraud and enhance cyber security more?
Okay, well, of course, it is 2 ways. It is not just the bank now, it's between the bank and the customers. You get, because if the banks lay down policies, guidelines that customers need to follow in order not to reveal, like for instance, their ATM password, like just to their checks by placing their checks anyhow where anybody can have access to it. That will mitigate fraud to an extent, because now, like I explained earlier about that situation where a check was stolen and presented at an unknown bank and value was not given. You get. So ways it has to do with the bank and the customer. The bank and the customer needs to work together to make this preventive measures really work, because the cyber security team and the IT team, they are doing their best to make to prevent fraud. So it has to do with now the customers to do their own part. Once they can play their own part perfectly, then everything will go well. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for getting the interview. So what's your name again?
Yeah, my name is Robert Smarts. I work with Wema Bank.
All right. Nice to meet you, Robert. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.